In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad and raised among us our last and greatest messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the city now known as Detroit, in a region in the city called Black Bottom, known for its rich black fertile soil. I pray that on the day before the 4th of July, which many people, black people, is who I'm concerned about, will be celebrating a day of bloodshed, war, chaos, so on this day before celebration of the 4th of July, Independence Day of the Caucasian, separating himself from his motherland, Europe, a day of war and destruction, while the black man was under the foot, known as a slave, but first a prisoner of war. So we hope that this transmission reach those that want to survive the chaos and turmoil in this day of judgment of Allah, in this day of Armageddon, meaning where the armies of all nations gather together to make World War III a reality, also known as the end of the white man's rule over the planet that the white man named Earth, as he renamed all that the black man had named. The Caucasian came and renamed it. This is a day of tranquility for the Muslim, for he knows that Allah is separating the righteous from the unrighteous. And he himself must get his house in order. For the devil told Allah that he will come after the righteous on the straight path. So I found out that Detroit, which has 7 letters in it, is a French word meaning the straight. It's French meaning the straight. And Allah came to the straight. It was named after the straight way of how the Great Lakes, the Detroit River, it's a narrow section that the water flows through. And the French named it the Strait. The French, Detroit is a French word. And the French made war with the indigenous people here and set up a fort called Detroit, Fort Detroit. This is the city that Master Farad came to in 1930 to give his people, which is the original Asiatic black man, the knowledge of self, the true meaning of Islam, and make it a new Islam, different from the so-called Arabs, different from the Arabs different from the Arabs, the Indians, the Indonesians, from some Africans. Because this Islam is the Islam of Master Farad Muhammad. It's new in one way, but ancient and old in another way, because Islam is the nature of Allah, the Creator. Islam is the nature of the original Asiatic black man. Another meaning is divine order, because without divine order, you got chaos. There is no justice in chaos. There is no justice in confusion. There is no justice in disorder. There is no justice in the outlaw's way of thinking, because he is outside of the laws of the universe. He is outside of the laws of creation. He is outside the laws of nature. He is unnatural to the planet. But Allah let him rule, so you will know the difference, the true difference and the true meaning of right and wrong. Because Allah has two germs, one black, one brown. One is superior than the other. So now when you say white supremacy, you're giving too much play to Yaqub's grafted devil made from the weaker brown germ. But he gave the weaker germ enough sense to trick the black germ into submission. This is the science of the whole day of judgment. So, superiority, white supremacy. If we keep labeling the white man as a white supremacist, that means that there is no black supremacy. That's what some black people think. Some black people think that we are all equal. Some black people think that there's no supreme being. And if there is a supreme being, he has no color, he has no body, he has no form. He's a spirit. But yet and still, you raise Jesus as God, and his picture is that of a Caucasian. All this is called psychology or tricknology. It's a science to this whole madness. So it's a lot of excitement that will be into the celebration of the 4th of July, because the black man is celebrating his enslavement during this period of time of the war between England and the colonies, 13 colonies. You were a slave. George Washington had slaves. You were getting mistreated, tortured, and terrorized on a daily basis. King James wrote the Bible. He had slaves. Plus he was a homosexual. This is easily proven by researching. When you research, you can't look at one interpretation of our history, especially when the white man wrote it. We all know that the white man speaks with forked tongue. And on this holiday, we're going to celebrate, black man is going to celebrate that which is out of his nature, which is out of his culture. Because he was made slave for 400 years, he took on the characteristics of his slave master. Because he was made deaf, dumb, and blind. You can look that up. If any man could forbid you to speak, to use your own names, your own language, forbid you to worship your own way, forbid you to speak your own language, then divide you, take the elders from you, take your wife and your children from you and sell them off as different in different plantations. For 400 years, he was playing with your mind like this, generation after generation, reprogramming you, brainwashing you, washing your brains of who you really, of your identity, your real identity, and then programming you. That's like when you delete information out of a computer. Now, it's not really deleted, but it's hidden, out of sight, out of mind. It's hidden within you. And reprogramming information that will program you to do the will of the programmer. That's why AI, artificial intelligence, can't be smarter than the human mind, because AI comes out of the mind. Now you got man and you got mankind. You got the original man and you got those that are other than original. So you got the original mind, the original intellect, and then you got the unoriginal, the artificial. AI came out the mind of mankind, not the mind of the human. Not the mind of the human being. Hue, the word hue means color. The word man originally meant mind, not flesh and blood, but that which flesh and blood contains. So we come to you today before 4th of July to bring forth this message that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had brought forth to you many moons ago. Separate or die, black man. Talking to you, black man. Separate or die. See, y'all forget that don't nothing happen without the permission of Allah. So when you see hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, these are forces of nature that Allah controls, that he could hold back if he wants to, or he could permit it to happen. There's no compulsion in Islam. Allah gives you his will as an order or a commandment. You can take it or leave it. In so doing, you are bringing forth nature, the destruction force of nature on your own self. That's like giving you heard the expression, give him enough rope, he hang himself. But my mama used to say it like this, give a nigga enough rope and he'll hang himself. So there'll be, on this 4th of July, there will be black people selling drugs to the weaker black man. See, the strong supposed to look out for the weak. And he's only weak because he don't have the true knowledge of self. So he has a low he has an inferior complex because of the way he was raised by the white man, made to hate himself. And so those that know better, they must do better. They must not prey upon the weak. They must not prey upon this woman, for she is made a degree below. She's the second self of the black man. So there are those this holiday that will, talking about black people, prey upon the black brothers, the weaker ones. They will prey upon him instead of educating him and civilizing him into the knowledge of self. They're going to take advantage of his weakness to gain the upper hand, what they think is the upper hand over them. So there will be plenty alcohol sold. The black man will eat the wrong foods. Do you know when you eat meat, any kind of meat, that it takes more digestive fluids, which is really fire, to digest meat. It takes longer to digest meat. It takes 3 days to digest some meats, like beef, pork. But why did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Farah Muhammad point out pork first? Because your digestive fires won't kill the trichiny worm that's in pork. Fire, heat can't kill it. So when you cook pork, you could cook it, burn it. That trichiny worm will survive. All meat got worms in it, but the most deadliest meat, is pork, because of that trichiny worm, because of the nature of the pig. Pig is a man-made animal. pig is made of cat, rat, and dog. So look at the nature of the pig and how he lives. He lives in mud. He eats anything. Even a snake, poison snake can't kill him. In Detroit, at Belle Isle, it was infested with snakes. So to get rid of the snakes, they went and got pigs, turned them loose over in Belle Isle, because snakes can't kill them. The poison that's in snakes can't hurt the pig. Any kind of poison can't hurt the pig. It was man-made by Moses and his scientists. Bet you didn't know that. They stopped teaching like that. Stop giving you that kind of history. After the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed, they stopped teaching like that. Because they started teaching you to integrate. I'm not gonna name names, but you'll figure it out who started teaching like that. They started teaching you to integrate. Start telling you to vote using the white man's politics. See, Islam got the politics of Allah. It's got the political structure of Allah, or the universe, divine order, Mayat. They don't teach you that. They stopped teaching that. The ministers in Islam stopped teaching you in your FOI classes. You know, they gradually stopped teaching that the politics of Islam, and they start merging in with the so-called Arab or the Middle Easterners Islam, which was given to Prophet Muhammad 1400 years ago to civilize the Arabs. Because the Arabs was on the wild. They were killing their women. They didn't want to have no female children. They only wanted to have male children. Bet you didn't know that. So Allah raised up Prophet Mustafa Muhammad 1400 years to civilize he gave them a type of Islam different. Prophet Muhammad didn't come to the black man. He came to the Arabian Peninsula. You know, to civilize those over there. Bet you didn't know that. Islam was here all the time. Prophet Muhammad didn't discover Islam. He wasn't made the founder of Islam. The one that they called Jesus, which real name is Isa bin Yusuf or Isa bin Maryam, The Arab called him Isa bin Maryam. See, the Arab started being influenced by the Caucasian, by the jinn, and he altered the Quran. I remember this because my uncle, those of you who've been following me know the history of my uncle. My uncle, he was a Muslim in the 40s. He was a Muslim before Malcolm got out of jail here in Detroit. My uncle and my mother both worked in a restaurant, a Muslim restaurant, with Malcolm. My uncle used to babysit me, and he raised me into the teachings. When my mama stopped frequenting the meetings, because I was born in it myself, she stopped frequenting the meetings because she loved that money. I love my mother. I'm just telling the truth. And she wanted a job working with, well, she went to get an application, a federal application. And she wore her Muslim garb. And she passed the test because my mama was very, very smart. She would have graduated from high school at 16 here in Detroit, Miller High School. My mother also knew the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's youngest and blood brother, Supreme Minister John Muhammad, who was raised by Allah and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He was there and saw Master Farad Muhammad, who was taught, him and his wife, Sister Bernie, him and his wife was the secretary that is mentioned in Supreme Wisdom. But at a certain point, my mother, I don't know who was talking to her. It wasn't my father. But anyway, she wanted her own money, and she wanted to join the workforce, but she wanted to get with the feds. So she wrote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and told the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that she could get hired if she stopped wearing the Muslim garb, the headpiece, the long dresses, and dressed like an American. So the messenger told her, well, if you need the money, you want that, do what they say. But he didn't tell her to go all the way, because Muslim don't mean the way you dress. It's in your heart. It's in your nature. But you're fighting against the nature of the white man, and you're fighting against the nature of yourself when you go along with the suggestions of the devil. You got to be strong enough to keep Islam in your mind and soul, in your heart, when you're working for the devil. You got to find out that you're working for the devil, but it's what you do with the money. That's why Jesus say, give what belongs to Caesar, and give what belongs to Allah, to Allah. Remember when they asked Jesus, when the devil asked Jesus, should they pay tribute, which is taxes and interest? He said, should we pay tribute to Caesar? And Jesus said, well, look, show me your penny, which is a coin that you use it. He said, whose picture is on that penny? It was a picture of Caesar. He said, well, give what belongs to Caesar, and give what belongs to Allah, to Allah. In reality, Caesar don't own nothing. Everything belongs to Allah, which is the original Asiatic black man. But to those devils, the Israelites and the Jews, they were under occupation up under the Italians, Caesar. They was occupied by the Italians. The Italians didn't recognize the Jews with them. The Italians or the Romans conquered the Greeks. A lot of those Greeks was worshiping black people. But the Romans say, no, y'all gonna worship me. So the Jews was always second class citizens. They were the white man's niggas, you know. But you can't tell the difference between the white man, between the Romans and the white man. There's no distinction between the white man and the Jews, except the name. And the way they worship. The Jews didn't believe in Jesus. The white man and the Romans didn't believe in Jesus. Matter of fact, the Jews tried to kill Jesus, so-called Jesus. His name wasn't Jesus. His name was Isa ben Maryam or Isa ben Yusuf. I don't know what the word Isa means. I could look it up and find out what Isa means. But I know that Ben Yusuf, Ben means the son of Joseph. English version, the son of Joseph. So getting back to the altering the Quran, the Quraysh was mixed in with the Jews. There was a whole lot of Jews over there in Arabia, Saudi Arabia. And some of them was writing the Quran. So when they wrote the Hadith, a lot of them had input in the Hadith. Because I remember reading, my uncle was showing me in the Quran that I bought from about this Quran. You know, I can't recall the brother's name right now because it's been so long ago. I had bought my first Quran way back in the 70s. My uncle showed me where to go to buy this Quran on Dexter. I bought it on Dexter. It'll come to me later on. But I remember reading in the Quran, the guilty blue eyes. The jinn was referring to the Caucasian. And they made it very clear in the first Quran that I bought. Then they changed it to the guilty blue eyes. I mean, to the, how they said it was, they changed guilty blue eyes I don't forgot the term they use now. See, I'm speaking to you off the top of my head from within my heart. So, you know, I can't bring a whole lot of things that I learned. I done forgot more than some of you have learned. I can't bring it to the surface right now. But they changed that wording. I forgot what they changed it to though. I have to go back and read it. And that Quran right there that said that the guilty blue eye, they don't print that no more. Because the white man got a hold of it. And he altered a whole lot of teachings. This is why Master Farad had to come, to give us a different kind of Islam, a new Islam. A lot of y'all, you know, it'll come to me later. A lot of y'all probably say, well, you know, who blocking your memory? I'm blocking my own memory. Because I got a whole lot on my mind that I want to get over to you. But I got to take it one step at a time, which I find it hard to do sometimes. And a lot of times when I speak to you, I'll be jumping around. My train of thought got to be focused. This is why I'm playing this video behind me, Tranquility. It's a meditation type video. You can meditate, because meditation is a form of concentration. You can meditation without going to sleep or going into unconsciousness. You got to be conscious when you meditate. And when you're talking and walking, you could be in a state of meditation. When you're giving some vital counseling, you have to be in a state of meditation, especially when you're old school, brother, going on 78 years old. You have to have your frequency attuned to bring in and attract those whose frequency is similar to yours. And your frequency got to bounce off of them to get to the deaf, dumb, and blind. So a lot of brothers, you know, they play the modern day A lot of play modern day music, hip hop, but I'm playing the music of nature. You hear those birds singing a tune, see? They singing. Like me, I'm singing. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you just like it is. So I had to come to you today because I wasn't going to come to you live today. But I had to tell you it's prime time to separate. And you might can't physically separate from the Caucasian because the Caucasian is so intertwined with your real name. It's hard for you to separate your mind, which you got to separate first because it's mind over matter. And that's why I'm trying to penetrate your minds right now. So you can separate mind over matter and separate from the materialistic world of the devil. Separate from the materialistic world of the devil. And be into the breath of Allah, which is the spirit. It's a science to breathing, but the breath has two meanings. Because in the air is vitals, is your vitals. In the air, electromagnetic vitals. In the breath of Allah. And in this day of judgment, where we're orbiting the Sirius solar, we're orbiting the Sirius solar system, which the Dogon called a dog star, which is sun many times bigger than our sun. The heat is also sending out rays of intelligence. Because all colors is frequency, vibrations. And black is the essence of colors. Because space is triple black. Light comes out of triple black. And we use light as a metaphor or a way to describe knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So you're going to go out if you want to be with the crowd and do as the others do, especially those that you deem influential. There's a lot of black people has influence over our black people, especially your entertainers, your politicians, and your media personalities. They put on the TV, they put them up front, and bombard the screen with these images and these messages on an everyday basis. You're not going to see me or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad you're not going to see me up front, because they're going to look at the views, see. Because some people just go by the way you title your videos. Some people title their videos to shock you. You like that shock value, that shock news. You know, that'll attract you. Or gossip, you know, that'll attract you. But if you don't entitle your video to shock your audience or make them curious to watch your video, they're not going to tune in to you because they are programmed for such type of science. So if the average black man and woman, which mostly are deaf, dumb, and blind at 85%, don't understand the meaning of Master Farad Muhammad, because they made sure that they dummied you down or turned you against the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the understanding that Allah came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. They want you to think that Allah is a spirit. Well, that word spirit means breath. It comes from the word inspiration, inspired. You got inspired, you got expired. That means you expired, that means you stop breathing. That's why they say you are mentally dead. And when you're physically dead, you're not breathing. But when you're mentally dead, you're not breathing in the frequencies of Allah. So the white man made a sign called a cross. And he nailed Jesus. What he painted, what he made up, he made all this up to the cross. And it was a white man, a half-naked white man with a head full of thorns. That the head full of thorns meant, you know, thorns wrapped around your head means that you ain't dead. Then he nailed your hands up to the cross. That means you can't, you like handcuffed, man. You can't move your hands. Then that nailed up to the cross, you can't use them no more. And your feet up to the cross, so you can't move. Your brain is dead. Only your body is suffering from being like this. So the God in you, which are the forces, because you remember that Young Elijah Muhammad told you that the word God meant possessor, power, and force. That's lying dormant. Ever since they made you prisoners of war, then made you a slave, that means that you're mentally dead and physical, you're physically in prison because you can't move. Your movements are limited. You're like in a comatose, paralyzed state of being, and you can't get out of it. So your mentality got to be unchained first, so you can breathe in the oxygen or the breath of Allah. So that means Allah had to come in person. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. To show you that he's flesh and blood like you. He contains the supreme wisdom of the original creator, which is multiplied within his being here. So you heard Jesus say, I came to give you life and life more abundantly. Don't forget that the Caucasians rewording and renaming and rewriting everything that originally came from the original Asiatic black man. Don't forget that he's dividing us against each other. So Allah had to bring about the day of Armageddon to divide the righteous from the unrighteous. Because some of y'all refuse to be righteous. And you want to bring the righteous to the footsteps of Satan, your master. Most of you are the devil's advocate. We're talking about the boule and the bourgeois. The white man gave the black man the whip to beat his brother with. He gave him the authority to kill his other brother. So some of you get it. Some of you understand it. So just because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is no longer with us, and you don't see Master Farah Muhammad, it's like this. Let me run it like this. This is the way I see it. A lot of my brothers might see it different. But you're in a big classroom. Life is a classroom. The planet Earth is a problem solving planet. So you're on the board, your instructor, you're in the classroom and your instructor is Allah. Allah's the principal of the classroom, of the school. And he chose the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as your instructor, as your teacher. So he said, relay the message to my people. And so he went back talking about Master Farah Muhammad. He went back to the principal office. He gave instructions to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he followed the instructions of Allah to teach his people. Then he withdrew the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to see how the class gonna act if there's no teacher in the room. To see who's of the righteous and who's of the unrighteous. To see who comprehend and who didn't comprehend. To see who internalized the teachings and who didn't. So you got those in the classroom who always wanted to be the head of the class, who always wanted to be the real leader. When they seen that the teacher was gone, they took control of the classroom. But they forgot that the principal was in the office. The principal being Master Farah Muhammad. So out of sight, out of mind. You don't see, you're out your mind. So you heard the term, when the cat's away, the mice will play. When the teacher's away, the students will play. Y'all playing right now. Y'all not for real. Y'all looking for that substitute teacher. But didn't you hear that Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he's teaching you to be leaders and not followers? So when you got we're gonna use this as a scenario. Agent 007. He's a soldier, but he be sharp all the time. He be with a tie on, suit and tie, but he's a soldier for real. But he's the type of soldier with skills that he can operate without a commander. They give him his assignment. They say, we want you to go in here, penetrate this territory, disable and disable those that's influence over the people, so we can bring in our rule of government. You got soldiers like that. Well, that's how we were supposed to be trained to be. We were supposed to be trained to be, we were behind enemy lines, but we're supposed to be trained to be leaders, so we can operate without the captain, without the lieutenant. Because our assignment is already, we have learned our assignment and we're supposed to carry it out. So we're supposed to be leaders now. And our job is to civilize the uncivilized, And that's the 85% of our brother who don't know about or have no idea what we talking about. You're not supposed to just be students all the time. So when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say separate, that's what you're supposed to do, even though they're not on the scene no more. So you can't integrate. How you gonna be a Democrat and a Muslim at the same time? How you gonna be a Republican and a Muslim? There were those who were teaching you to be that. Be a Democrat. Or there were those who was teaching you to be independent. You can't, ain't nowhere in the world you can do that. That means that Uncle Sam is your God. I'm gonna give you an example. You always got, I see Judge Joe Brown. Now I used to dig Judge Joe Brown. I used to dig because Judge Joe Brown, when he was on TV, he had Man Up. See, and he was saying the right thing. But when they kicked him off of TV and they put him in jail, you know, they put Judge Joe Brown, they locked him up a few times for contempt of court. You see, when you're a lawyer, you're an officer of the court. So that means you're an officer of England, you know. And Judge Joe Brown know legalese. He know about that. Instead of him using his expertise to get us free reparations, it's the same with Malik Zulu Shabazz. They're using it to make money, using it to make money, so they can put it right back into the system. Because Judge Joe Brown want to vote for Trump. See, he don't believe in Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what he was teaching. The Master Farad Muhammad came, he don't believe that. That's how you can tell who's for the black man and who's not for the black man. Ain't nowhere in the world. Let's use our neighborhoods as an example. I never did give in to those bullies that was in the neighborhood. I never did. When I was going to school, there were bullies at school on the playground. There were gangs at school on the playground. I never did. Matter of fact, I formed my own gang. I had 2 gangs. Well, I wouldn't call them gangs, I would call them organizations. Because when we used to go to the store, there would always be a crowd of brothers hanging around the storefront, shaking you down. Matter of fact, we had a whole gang called the Shakers. Then we had a gang called the Baby Shakers. Baby Shakers were the little guys, you know, around my age. Because at that time I was about 8, 9 years old. And the Baby Shakers, they would be like when you go to the show. There used to be a line going to the show, going to the movies. But they used to have matinees. And they used to show about 10 movies and 30 cartoons, chapter pictures and everything. And the baby shakers would be at the show shaking you down while you was in line. I wouldn't give up my money. And I had to fight. And when I whooped they, you know, my old man taught me how to fight, and my uncle taught me martial arts. So, martial arts is like Bruce Lee say, there ain't no style or nothing. It's a mental process. The only thing you gotta have when you fighting is fast reflexes. And you got to have a quick imagination. You got to see yourself, just like when you play chess, you got to see 5 moves ahead. You got to see yourself when you fight. See, it's a science. When you're fighting, you got to see 5 moves ahead. You got to see when you make a move, you got to know he's going to strike this way, or he's subject to strike that way, because he might not. His reflexes could be slower than yours. So you got a picture when you're getting ready to fight. You got a picture how many different ways you can take him out quick. You got to know the vitals on where to hit him at to take him out. That's the science of war. But you got to be mentally and physically in shape. So that's how I was taught how to really fight. And you got to be trying to fight. See, fighting in the street ain't like fighting in the ring. There are no rules. But it's a mental thing first. You got to know the weakness of your opponent and how they usually fight. Most people are taught a certain way, a way of fighting. So you got to be creative. See, this was Ali was famous for. This was Mayweather was famous for. They were creative. Plus, they could adapt. Because you're always going to run into somebody with the same abilities as you. But you can't let it shock you. You got to be more creative than them and more adaptable than them. That's war. See what I'm saying? Do you really understand what I'm saying, young blood? You got to be mentally and physically fit. You got to be your own commander. So this is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was training us to be. That's why he called us gods. But he said the only weakness we got right now is we're not righteous enough and we're not in unity with each other. If you're not in unity with each other, you can't pull your resources together. But Allah mean as one. We got to move. We got to automatically move as one. I remember when I first started my vocal, you know, because I was into music when I started off interested in music when I was about 7 or 8. But when I was first playing instruments. I started off with the drums, and then I ditched the drums and started trying to imitate the Temptations. And so I formed a vocal group. And we used to practice 8 hours a day. And we got so acquainted with each other that we could ad lib, fall right back in the pocket. And we know automatically what positions, vocal positions, that we was gonna take. We had a tenor, second tenor, baritone, and a bass, and a lead. We all could lead. You know, we all had lead positions. We could harmonize, and we had routines. And when we together, when we unified, and when we harmonized, it would ring. The whole building would ring. You can hear that harmony ringing, man. So we like to sing in buildings that had good acoustics. You know, when a building got good acoustics, you don't need no mic. So we were mentally in frequency with one another. We know what the other one's gonna do before he even do it. And we fall in line. We fall in line. We know when to fall in line, when to support each other. Because sometimes we would switch off leads in the middle of a song. A brother might start off leading the song, then another brother might switch off, and he leads the song. That's the Dramatics used to do that. Dramatics was some bad brothers, man. You know, so it was some bad brothers. I got to give them that. But the reason why I quit the music business because it was ran by the gangsters. When you see my videos, my music videos on TV, on the YouTube, that's my own label, my own publisher. I record at my house. I'm playing all the instruments, the instrumentation I'm making that happen. I'm doing all the background vocals and all the leads. I don't put it on the market. Reason why I'm not putting my stuff on the market, because I gotta go through the white man. Now there's brothers coming up with their own app on YouTube. But we still gotta go through the white man, even if you got your own app. We haven't came up with an internet of our own creation. We haven't came up with a distribution of our own. I mean, Akon over there in Africa, brothers don't want to get with him. They could get with him and get this distribution cross country. But we sticking with our oppressor. And he killing y'all, y'all young boys up, and he's not promoting the advancement of your musicians, of your, y'all not studying, you're not studying old brothers like Duke Ellington and Miles, and you know, y'all ain't into that. Now Snoop did, you know, but the young ones now, they're not doing that. You know, they're not progressing into their musicianship. You don't put no changes. You don't have changes in a song. It's just one simple thing, one beat, and you rapping over that beat. And you're not even coming up with no political or just like Marvin Gaye made What's Going On. Curtis Mayfield, he was making songs, which y'all might call political, or I call them message songs. All of them had a message in it. Clan, X-Clan, Public Enemy. Now y'all ain't doing that. And if the ones that do it, y'all don't want to hear it. That's just like when you make a channel or format on YouTube, we're not talking about who killed Biggie and who killed Tupac. If we're not talking about Puff Daddy, we ain't talking about that. You don't get no views. Minister Farrakhan getting more views on his video than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or his brother, Supreme Minister John Muhammad. And they was taught by Master Farad Muhammad. And every time they give praise to Master Farad Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they throw Farrakhan up in there. And Farrakhan was a student. He didn't even see Master Farad Muhammad. I'm not talking about Minister Farrakhan, even though I'm in Mosque number 1, not Temple number 1, Mosque number 1. Because Temple's where you go to learn at. Mosque is where you go to worship and pray. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, one of the last things he said is, get out the way, separate. We could pray later, but get out the way now. So by you asking for reparations and you just studying, you just giving rallies, you still under the command of your enemy. So how do you get from out from being under the command of your enemy? See, some of y'all don't want to lead yourself. Y'all don't want to be. You don't want to have to govern your own self. You don't trust yourself. See, that's all that's about. I can understand that. I can understand you don't trust yourself, but I know how we are. You know, some of us, you know, are, are not trustworthy. You got to start though. You got to start trusting yourself. So therefore, that means you got to get the individual got to get his house in order. Once you get your house in order, your frequency, that vibe that you give off, will attract alike. See, Yakub, his science was not alike. See, it's supposed to be alike attracts alike. But Yakub, he switched it around and made the unalike attracts alike. So that made us attracted to the white man, to the devil. He made the devil attracted to us. The unnatural, we attract the natural is attracted to the unnatural. And we believe the unnatural more than we believe the natural. That's why I'm playing this in the back. That's, you know, the word nature is taken from the word natural. See, we natural to the environment, to the planet, to the sun. The sun don't burn us up, especially when you're eating right. See, when it get hot in your area or your region, it'd be 90, 100 degrees, and you still eat meat, because that meat is hard to digest. And your fires in your solar plex is hard to digest. It's gonna burn you up. You're gonna get a fever. But if you consume fruit, and if you liquefy your fruit and vegetables, that's even better. You're gonna be cool. You're gonna be cool, man. If you liquefy your fruits and vegetables and eat the right fruits and vegetables, don't eat those seedless fruits and vegetables. It's natural to you to digest. This raises your frequency level, and you adjust to the heat. You become less solid. Man, there's a whole lot I want to say, but I just want you to know that when Honorable Elijah Muhammad came, he opened up a whole lot of avenues for you to go to free yourself in mind, body, and soul. Soul means body, but to free yourself, free your mind and body, and to give you life more abundantly. I wanna testify and give you the benefit of my counsel, because I want my people. Let me tell you this. I had a daughter that was stabbed 42 times. She would be almost 50 now. She left 2 sons by a dope man she was going with, or by a junkie. It was one of the two, because she was going with a junkie and a dope man at the same time. They were stabbed. She was stabbed in the presence of her 2 sons when they were very small. So they couldn't testify. They couldn't. They knew who killed them, but the junkie was their daddy. But the dope man was her new beau, was her new boo. Did that make me hate my whole black people? No, because I understood we went through 400 years of mind-altering torture, pain, and agony. I understood the science of that. And I understood that these 2 brothers wasn't in their right mind. They was acting other than self. I understood that by me being born into the Nation of Islam and getting those type of teachings. Did that make me hate the white man for putting us through that agony? No, it didn't make me hate him. Why I didn't? Because I understood the teachings, that it was prophesied for all this to happen. But I wasn't afraid of it. And if he confront me or come wrong with me, I kick his ass faster than a New York minute, a Jew York minute. Because I laugh and joke, but I don't play. And if a brother come up to me acting other than self, he gonna have a war on his hands. That's all that means. I know what the situation is, but I don't walk afraid. Now when I was coming up, your neighbor could whoop you. If they see you acting other than yourself or acting a fool, some of them might go and tell your mama what you did. And some of them might just come up there and whoop you and then send you home to your mom. But I remember when the elders in the hood stopped being afraid of the young ones, because it was my father's. He told my father, he said, "Man, you better let these young boys have their way, because I'm scared of them." My father says, "You crazy fool. I brought him into this world, I'll take him out." My father and my mother, they didn't play that. They ain't gonna let me have my way. They ain't gonna tolerate nothing from my friends, you know. But over the years, the elders started getting scared. I remember we was at the waiting on to use the phone, and this was when I was kind of older. I was an adult, and a young jitterbug was on the phone, and we had to use the phone, but he was outside the phone book. He was outside the phone for hours, man, because we went away and came back. He was still on the phone. Wasn't no phone within. See, those days we didn't have cell phones or smartphones or whatever. So he was at the phone booth. So you say, man. So a friend of mine said, hey, man, he asked nicely. He said, would you please let us have the phone? So the young jitterbug snapped and he said, man, it's my dime, it's my time. And the way he said it though. Now we was in our 20s and he was like, I think he was a teenager or something. But he called us old. So I told the dude, I said, man, I told the guy that, that backed off. I said, let's kick his ass. He said, no, man, forget it. So we started getting scared of these young cats. They'd come up to you, start talking about, oh man, you better did, this and that and the other. So as I got older and older, and my friends, some of them didn't make it till they got old, but they started getting old. The only one that survived was the wise ones. And so they start take the young cats come up to them, want to rob them. A couple of them, I know they tried to rob this guy. He was 80 years old. He killed them and didn't go to jail. Nowadays he might go to jail, but back then he didn't go to jail. I remember they tried to fight this old cat, because when you be in the street for a long time and you start getting older, you don't want fight. You want fighting to be a effortless thing. So you learn tricks. So you learn how to sneak attack. You learn how to be smiling. Talking quiet. My father, he never did argue. He would just knock you out. They used to call my old man Bullet. I'm gonna tell you why they used to call him Bullet. Was he'd be at a poker game, and if a guy be cheating, my old man would take a shell, a bullet, 45 or something. He wouldn't argue with the guy. He would just sit it on the table. Now he had his gun up under the table, pointing at the guy's belly. He didn't argue though. He just look at you. He'll say something to let you know that that ain't cool, man. But even when my mother and father were arguing, you only hear my mother. You never did hear my old man. He always kept an even tone. He didn't yell, scream. When he just look at you, he look at you a certain way, and you got to know him to know when he getting ready to strike. you know. Cause he quit talk, he quit arguing. He don't argue. He just look at you, and you still be hooping and hollering and still be talking. He ready to pounce, you know. Now my mother, she be hooping and hollering and carrying on, but my mother wasn't no joke either. Cause my mother, if you attack her, she gonna take you out. She carried a gat with her, and it'll always be in her apron. Or if she didn't have a gat, you're gonna get stuck, or you're gonna get hit in the head with a pot or iron skillet, with anything she could put her hands on. And she used to like to yell all the time. But I followed my I used to do that. I used to do that too. I used to follow after my mom because she was raising me a little bit. Until some my father's friends told me about how my father used to do when they be at a poker game or dice game or something. They used to call my old man Bullet. So one of his friends told me the reason why they call him Bullet. You know. So old cats, man, y'all better leave these old cats alone. They showed a video here about a young cat jumping on an old guy on the bus. And the old guy beat the young guy up. But you know, they got you scared now. They got the old folks scared. You know, they not gonna check some of these young boys. But the elders got to get together, man, and check some of these young cats. We got to separate from this system of doing things. They got in this system, the parent can't even discipline their own children. Let me read this before I go though. Remember this to my young G's. I am an FOI soldier in the Nation of Islam. My duty is to unite my people, black people, and protect the women and children of my nation. I will perform my duty faithfully, regardless to whom or what. My life and my death are all for Allah. I will be loyal and obedient to the supreme being Allah in the person of Master Farah Muhammad, who came to Detroit in 1930 to raise the black man up, rightful place. He is the Lord of all the worlds, the Lord of this day of judgment, the magnificent, the merciful, master of the day of judgment in which we now live. Separate before it's too late. We can build a new world right starting in Detroit, the 313. The area code is 7 in this day of judgment, the 7th day, the dawning of the day of Aquarius. We could build a new rule, 77% black. All them sevens, man. Detroit was born in the month of July, the 7th month. Area code is 313, which is a 7. Detroit got 7 letters. Master Farah Muhammad came in the 7th day. the city of seven. Detroit, Michigan. I told you that it meant straight. The devil said he gonna come after him in the straight way. Detroit is MOTOWN. Detroit is sacred ground. I'm gone. Assalamu alaikum.